can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this video is gonna be incredibly short, because the fact of the matter is Matthew just does not have that much screen time. He appears in 2 episodes, one of which he did not even show up personally. And in The Mountain, the episode in which he is originally introduced, the episode primarily focuses on lemongrab, and considering that he's already getting his own 30-minute video on himself, I don't really see why I would cover him in this particular episode. Due to the fact that this episode is not based around him, he only actually obtains around 2 minutes of screen time before he is dispersed by lemongrab. However, despite his negligible screen time, it should be noted that his character does have some interesting points about it, so let's go ahead and dive right into it. Starting off strong, we have Matthew himself. Matthew is technically not a single individual, but instead the essence of dozens of individuals fused together in order to create one single mind. One thing that is rather interesting is that we know he is incredibly ancient, considering his legend and his mountain seems to be incredibly well known to the inhabitants of U, as well as the fact that he seems to have some level of understanding of the events that took place 1,000 years ago. In fact, his main goal is to incorporate enough individuals into himself until he obtains enough power to eventually merge as an entirely different entity. You see, he desires to reach this godlike status so that when the Second Age of Terror comes, he can reform the world, utilizing his immense power in order to restructure the world and grant eternal peace. Typically, many people come to his mountain in search of him. The exact reasons for why can definitely be different depending on who comes. However, one thing that tends to always be the case is that they seem to have some kind of internal struggle. Lemongrab was now in a position where he had it all. He had a fully functioning lemon society and had everything that he ever wanted, but despite this fact, he was still incredibly unsatisfied. And so he would eventually seek out Matthew. Now, those who seek out Matthew must enter a particular tunnel. And one thing that should be noted is that when you reach this, you have to pick out one of 3 ways. A mirror will begin to show visions of 3 things, one of which being your desires, the others being your fears and relationships, and the final being your past. The correct choice is the past, as the only way to embrace Matthew is to relinquish your past in order to make way for the future. If you give in to your desires or fears, most likely you will not be able to reach Matthew due to the fact that the idea of you relinquishing yourself is incredibly slim. Now, if you do select the right option and make it a Matthew, one of the first things that he'll do is pretty much describe who he is and offer the chance to merge with him. Now, he would offer this idea to lemongrab, and lemongrab would give it some thought. However, upon meeting Matthew, he could do nothing but detest him. The reason for this is simple, which is the fact that Matthew is a liar. He lures in individuals who lack purpose, and those who simply cannot live with themselves as they currently are. The reason this is important is due to the fact that he continuously tries to lure these people in and constantly offers them ideas of grandeur and living for something greater than themselves. But in reality, all he's doing is continuously adding to himself at the expense of others, an incredibly selfish act. He also further detests him due to the fact that he is an infinite staircase with something that doesn't truly have purpose due to the fact that he can never fulfill the goal that he had set out. In truth, all Matthew was just an older, wiser version of what lemongrab used to be, a power-hungry, narcissistic madman. There's also a secondary lesson to be learned from Matthew, which is the idea that you need to learn how to live on your own. Your ambitions and ideas must come from you as a person rather than from an outside source. Those things can become a part of your life, however, you should not be consumed by them, such as a person completely consumed by the church or someone who would become incredibly dependent in a relationship. You need your own substance in order to become your own individual. And we actually do see a small glimpse of this within the episode. When the monks that make up Matthew were dispersed by lemongrab, one of the first things that immediately happened was a lot of them immediately lost their minds. Due to the fact that they had basically given everything that they had in order to make Matthew, they pretty much lost everything, and some immediately killed themselves while others immediately began to lash out in anger. Anyway, that's all I got for this episode. I told you this one would be incredibly short. I'm not entirely sure whether or not I got everything within this particular episode right, but at the same time, I like to imagine I did a pretty decent okay job. That being said, if you feel like I missed anything, be sure to put it down in the comments below, and if you like videos like this, be sure to like, subscribe, go down to your social media platforms, and also be sure to hit that bell icon. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye!